Thank you, Presiding Officer. And first, may I apologise to colleagues as I have an engagement in Glasgow that means I shall leave before the end of the debate. Can I congratulate Mike McKenzie in particular for setting what may turn out to be a new record in that book compiled by a well-known Irish stout manufacturer, the contribution to Parliament that achieves the greatest number of press releases. He's not alone in that particular endeavour, but I think he trumps everyone else. And to advise the Chamber that I am ready to fly colleagues all over Scotland in pursuit of good food and drink. Never a hardship to do that. And to tell them, as Napoleon asked for lucky generals, you would be flying with a lucky pilot. I've come off a plane in an emergency on 3 occasions so far, and on the 4th of November 1975 experienced parachute failure. So I can experience all these things. You can be with me. You'll be perfectly safe if you do so. But to the matter of food and drink, the important matter that's before us today. A couple of interesting things that Scotland is innovating in the matter of food and drink. It's not just simply that we're picking up the things we find lying around and finding a way of exporting them. Did you know we're now exporting garlic to France from Murray? We're exporting snails from Scotland to France. And we're beginning to make serious inroads into the olive oil industry with our extra virgin cold-pressed oilseed rape oil, which was first produced, I think, for commercial purposes very close to Peterhead and is now produced in a couple of different places. And it's a much better oil for cooking than olive oil. It can be heated to a higher temperature before it starts to break down, and it is at least equal in flavour content to that long-standing Mediterranean material. So we're doing some things that people are not necessarily aware of. Now, a Bank of Scotland survey tells us that 58% of Scottish producers are planning to expand overseas in the next 5 years, and that's pretty good news. Almost 2/3 did say they would welcome assistance in marketing and in developing brand awareness. Now, this business of brand is quite important. I think if you go around the world, you'll find very big recognition for Scotch, for our wonderful whisky. Indeed, in India, as I've made reference in the Chamber before, there's a huge trade in second-hand Johnnie Walker bottles, which are not always refilled with Johnnie Walker whisky before being resold, and that pattern is repeated around the world. But brands are precious things that need to be managed carefully. An industry expert said that a brand is the evidence of a claim or distinction you make to your customers. And he continues, he said, brands are promises. When they're kept, customers keep them, they stay loyal to you. But when they're broken, you lose these customers for a very long period indeed. So having international recognition for many of our products is important, but it's important we live up to these international brands. And our food exports depend on them. Now, the good examples in my constituency, as there are in others. One is Gourmet's Choice, which is a family-run business in Portsoy. They export smoked salmon. One Exporter of the Year award in 2009. They smoke the salmon with the barrels from the whisky industry, and you can actually taste which whisky it is when you taste the smoked salmon. And I think that's an ideal combination of the best of Scotland, and I love having that on my plate. Indeed, the sales manager, Henry Angus, commenting on their success, said, "With the right skills and resource in place to succeed in a global marketplace, and we've worked hard to develop relationships." And I think that's what we all have to do. And of course, salmon and fish generally are among the healthiest things that we could possibly eat. The budding rose has been mentioned. Well, I was at a sea fish event last night that was held in Edinburgh, and the budding rose got mentioned 3 times. So well done, Peter Bruce. The Peter Bruce brand is doing well. And I really look forward to the day when actually our fish products have the skipper's photograph and signature on the packaging, because increasingly products are sold in packaging, creating that even stronger link between the person who's responsible for the first early part of the quality right through the supply chain to the customer. We want to see people saying there is an extra value in buying, well, Peter Bruce or many of the other skippers from Liam McArthur's constituency as well as mine. I'm generous in these matters. No, I'm time-wise, you've had your turn. That's all I can say. Now, there are a couple of things we need to be aware of in health, and one of them is perhaps the issue of trans fats, where I think some recent research is showing that it can damage the memory. Clearly, I have avoided any of that trans fat thus far, or I can't remember having had it. It's one or the other, I'm not quite sure which. Now, the industry has expectations. The industry is going to create lots of new jobs over the next few years. Like a couple of others in here, I come from the age of rationing immediately post-war. Thank goodness we're now in a position where the quality of our food enhances the stature and health of our people and creates a powerful economic driver for our economy. Presiding Officer.